I think I can. I think I can. I think I can.
Thank you for joining. This is Keep It Secret. Ukraine-Russian War, Rybar map for January 24, 2023. NATO tanks incoming. As the one of the last red lines gets crossed, NATO tanks including German Leopard and American Abrams are heading to Ukraine. We are now one step closer to World War III. Border territories of the Russian Federation. The armed forces of Ukraine dropped an explosive device from a UAV on the village of Gorno-Sudzansky district. 2 people received injuries of varying severity as a result of the impact. Starobelsk direction. Positional battles continue on the Kupiansko-Svatovsky sector of the front. Both sides are engaged in artillery duels and reconnaissance in force. In the area of Novosilovsky, Russian fighters hit the accumulation of enemy manpower with an accurate artillery strike. Soledar direction. In the Soledar sector, paratroopers of the Russian armed forces are fighting on the outskirts of Krasnaya Gora. In an attempt to slow down the offensive, Ukrainian formations blew up one of the spans of the bridge near Paraskovivka. In Bakhmut, the Wagner PMC, with the support of aviation, is slowly pushing through the defensive lines of the armed forces of Ukraine along Savkasnaya Street in the northeast of the city. RF forces are planning on cutting of the major highways leading into Bakhmut to cut off supplies to the city and prevent of Ukrainian troop organized withdrawal. As the city becomes slowly encircled, it will become more and more difficult for the Ukrainian High Command to reinforce and supply Bakhmut. Luhansk People's Republic. Ukrainian formations fired at Rubizn with 155mm guns in the evening. The building of the cafe was damaged. There were no casualties. Donetsk People's Republic. Ukrainian units fired rockets from the HIMARS MLRS at the railway station in Ilovaisk. The railway network and a warehouse in the depot area were damaged. 2 people were injured. Several houses were destroyed in the Kievsky and Kuibishevsky districts of Donetsk, as well as in Oleksandrivka. 1 person died and 2 were injured. Offensive in the Donetsk. The soldiers of the Separate Assault Battalion, Somalia, in the course of intense fighting occupied the dominant heights north of Vadian and drove the Ukrainian formations out of the village itself. Units of the 11th Battalion of the 59th Amper of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, defending the settlement, suffered huge losses and retreated to reserve lines. The command of 11 Amp requested the evacuation of personnel from the battle area. As a matter of urgency, Marines of the 501st Battalion, 36th Marine Corps were sent to the line of contact to hold the line. From the airfield in Slavny, 2 Mi-8 helicopters fire NURs at Vadiany. The armed forces of Ukraine expect the resumption of a full-scale offensive by Russian troops in several areas, including Pervomaiskoy, Marinka, Krasnogorovka, and Nevelska. The situation in the Donetsk-Zaporozhye direction. In the Orkovsky sector, units of the 58th Combined Arms Army tried to storm the Novoandriivka-Novodanilovka line, but the offensive failed, and the armed forces of Ukraine repulsed the attack. The armed forces of the Russian Federation returned to their original lines. In the area of Malaya Tokmachka and Novodanilovka, where units of the 2nd Battalion of the 9th Special Forces Regiment, Jeopard, of the National Guard of Ukraine are located, additional MLAW ATGM launchers and AGS-17 mounted grenade launchers have been delivered. In the Polygovsky sector, Russian servicemen began to advance in the direction of Golyai-Poly. According to some reports, the Russian armed forces squeezed out Ukrainian formations from several strongholds at the Malinovka-Chervono line. Anti-aircraft missiles for manpads and sighting devices have been delivered to the forward positions of the 253rd Battalion of the 129th Troop Battalion in Belogorye and Ludovsko. In the Vrymyevsky sector, artillerymen of the RF armed forces are conducting massive fire on the positions of the armed forces of Ukraine at the turn of Novoselka Bolshe and Novoselka. In the Ugledar sector, soldiers of the 155th Brigade of the Pacific Fleet and the 7th Operational Combat Tactical Formation swooped through the defenses of the armed forces of Ukraine and occupied summer cottages west of Nikolsky. At the same time, the Russian armed forces, unexpectedly for the Ukrainian formations, began to attack Ugledar from the west and south. Now Russian troops are moving towards the settlement, breaking through the lines of the armed forces of Ukraine. Members of the 68th OPER and 72nd OMBR of the Armed Forces of Ukraine in radio communications report large losses in connections. Part of the contingent withdrew to the Yuzhno-Donbass Mine No. 1 for regrouping. Kherson direction. About the attempt to cross the Dnieper at Novokakhovka. Today, at about 5 a.m., Ukrainian formations tried to land at the Korsunka-Dniepriany line on the left bank of the Dnieper in the Kherson region. According to the earliest information, a company from the Territorial Defense, reinforced by 5 armored vehicles, crossed the river near Korsunka and took up positions near private houses. During the ensuing battle, 2 AFVs and more than 30 people were destroyed, the rest fled. However, in fact, the armed forces of Ukraine on 5 boats tried to land troops on the shore. 3 boats were sunk on the way. The remaining group was liquidated near the village of Korsunki. And on the right side, the members of the TRO and armored vehicles were hit with artillery and Solntsepicum, hitting up to 5 armored combat vehicles. Despite the failure, the Ukrainian command will most likely continue its attempts to break through the defenses on the left bank of the Dnieper. Along the front from Berislav to Kherson, engineering units of the armed forces of Ukraine are noted, which intend to build crossings across the river. All along the Dnieper, DRGs on small speedboats have activated, and in various sectors of the front, reconnaissance groups of the armed forces of Ukraine use small-sized drones, looking for the least protected places. In addition, since the beginning of January, at least 2 Bayraktar UAVs have been operating from the airfields in Voznesensk and Odessa almost daily over the territories of the Nikolaev and Odessa regions. One of the UAVs was shot down by a Buk anti-aircraft missile system north of Ochakov on January 21st. Given today's attempt, in the coming days and weeks we should expect the landing of Ukrainian landing groups on the Khingan Peninsula, in the area of Bolsh Potemkin Island and near Novaya Kakhovka. As we end our episode, here is another footage from the front line. Artillerymen of the 1st Tank Army covered a Ukrainian armored personnel carrier, which was transporting the personnel of the armed forces of Ukraine for rotation in the Novosilovsky area. The survivors fled, leaving the wounded behind. For more footage, please visit our Comrade in Arms and Telegram channel. Links in the description. Thank you for watching. And keep it secret.